And about being a better version of yourself or trying to spend your time in a better way, Tesla has launched their full service driving in beta this week. And Tesla Raj calls it scary as hell. So I've always loved the idea of the self-driving car because of the time you could be spending differently in the car, right? So it's like my summer house is 5 hours away. How do we, how do I or how do we as a family spend our time in like the coolest way in that car? This has a lot of potential. I mean, we're totally not there yet. So, for those of you that want to dive into like the very specifics of like what's possible now and what's not possible now, like we're totally not there yet. But I think it's interesting to see that the advances are there. I'm pretty upset that my Tesla's too old to be able to handle this upgrade. Maybe it's time for me to upgrade that car. I think it's leading back to the whole Elon thing. Like, I don't know. I think it's a pretty far out there idea. Like, let's completely free ourselves from having to think about driving. Like, not just from the safety perspective, but also from like a personal freedom perspective. I think it's like cool. I don't know how he keeps track of all his shit, like all these projects. I think it calls for a lot of speculation about how we'll handle it from an insurance perspective. I've heard that it's going to be subscription-based eventually. I heard that there's sales ending today on Monday if you want to like pre-buy it. But I think first of all, the Tesla insurance has historically been super expensive because most insurance companies are worried about insuring the car. So I think it makes sense that they're sort of pulling the insurance in-house and innovating around that. I think it makes sense that they're pulling the actual like full service driving system again, like Peloton, our friends from Peloton trying to change the world one skinnier woman at a time. I think that's pretty cool. Like Georgie, I know you're a pretty big Tesla fan.
Oh, huge.
Yeah. What are you thinking on this?
I think it's very interesting. They have their own database that can rate drivers on a completely different scale. So far, you've been rated of how old you are and depending how much experience you have with your car. But now this has nothing to do with your skills. So now Tesla have a much different set of data that can determine how good you are, no matter how old you are.
Yeah, I think you're totally right because you're touching on personalization. We've seen this personalization of almost every industry in the world. Personalization on and algorithms on Netflix, on Amazon, your own personal diet programs. Like you're saying, why is it that a good driver is being penalized because of age? It doesn't make sense. So both that you can detect if someone is a good driver, but also that the best drivers are being given it sort of as a gift, like in the beginning, and maybe should have given it to the worst drivers.
Definitely. Do you think you're going to get one?
Well, I think that first I need a new car. But then we'll see about that. I've been dreaming about the Roadster. I can't decide if it's like a too flashy. It's like woman trying to save the world through education, driving the flashiest car in the universe.
Yeah.
But I do think it's just damn pretty, right?
It is.
Yeah, and you can't help but support that cause. No, I think he is doing a lot of innovations. It's not just about the pretty car, but as you're saying, it's about the business models. It's about it's about democratizing access to insurance by basing it on your ability to goddamn drive a car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Tesla and the self-driving car has been a huge personal inspiration to me. We build a lot of things in CanopyLAB. We call the self-building course. And that idea actually came from studying a lot of the stuff that Tesla was doing. So I was sitting, again, I was in San Francisco and everyone was talking about like what are some of the stuff that's going to come out with a self-driving car. And I thought, wow, if you can build a self-driving car, if people are starting to actually base stuff on swarm intelligence, which was more like a myth back then than an actual concept, then I thought, what about all those teachers, all of those like HR people building courses for learning? Like what if we could build the self-building course? You put some data, you put some books, you put some articles, some videos in there, you shake it up, and then it drives on its own, right?
We're like the Tesla of EdTech.
We're the Tesla of EdTech. And on that note, thank you for tuning in for this first show. I look forward to sharing the news with you regularly, and tune in next week.